Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
The scene is Rome. The time is not so very long ago. 100 bells in the Eternal City have just finished announcing midnight when Sir Evan Lawford, who's just spent a long, hard day with a lot of other diplomats at an important UN meeting and has topped the whole thing off with an interminable official banquet, puts his key in the lock of the door in the Hotel Excelsior and opens it, treating himself at the same moment to a well-earned yawn. He doesn't get to finish the yawn, however, because somebody is waiting for him in the room. Who do you think that is? Me, of course. Who else?
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man. In today's story, Harry Lime joins the circus.
Just answer me this. I come back to my hotel room and find you in possession. How did you get in?
Now, Sir Evan, you were pretty highly placed in British intelligence during the war. For all I know, you still are. You ought to know something about getting into hotel rooms. Purely routine, isn't it?
I dare say. Well, what are you after?
Well, not the secret papers or the plans for the fort or the crown jewels, Sir Evan, I assure you. No, I'd just like a couple of minutes of your time.
Look here, I'm bone tired, and if you really want an appointment...
I have a photograph here. I'd like you to identify it. It's just a snapshot. Would you mind looking at it?
Not very clear, is it?
No, but I think you can make out the face.
Where was this taken?
I'll come to that. You recognize this man?
It's very difficult to be sure, you know. Sometimes these snaps are awfully deceptive.
Sir Evan, when was the last time you saw Hans Hessel?
Hans Hessel?
That's the name.
I saw him only once. It was in 39. I don't think we exchanged more than a dozen words
Sir
together.
Evan, you have a reputation of knowing more than any man alive about the Nazi hierarchy. At least any man on our side of the fence. I don't need to tell you who Hessel was. He had a lot of high-sounding titles, but in the last year of the war, he was supposed to be the man closest to Hitler, isn't that right?
So I've heard.
Now, don't play poker with me, Sir Evan. I'm not trying to sell you anything. Hessel was a kind of secretary of the Treasury, am I right?
No, that was Schacht.
I mean of Hitler's Treasury. Hessel was a super confidential secretary, and the way I hear it, the custodian of the Führer's personal wealth.
You seem to have a lot of information yourself, Mr.
Well,
Lime.
that's a sort of hobby of mine, information, Sir Evan. Besides, none of this is top secret or anything like that. There's been a lot of talk around about Hitler having a lot of hidden wealth, treasure and gold or something, only it's never been discovered.
The whole thing is probably a legend. There's a tremendous lot of rumors. You know.
Your people took that rumor seriously enough, Sir Evan. I happen to know of several operatives who spent the last 3 years trying to locate that treasure and trying to track down Mr. Hessel.
Hessel was a war criminal. He was wanted by the Allied authorities.
Yes, and he's never been found. He's the only man except Bormann who got away, the only important one.
Oh, he probably didn't get away, you know. He was almost certainly killed in Berlin.
That's the official version, yes, but he left the bunker several days before the end, probably on some secret mission for the Führer. But nobody knows precisely what happened to him after that.
This photograph? I wouldn't call this proof, Mr. Lime. No, I'd want to know first where it was taken and by whom. I'd want to know a lot of things.
That's what I'm here to tell you.
I'm also interested in motives, Mr. Lime. What's yours? Patriotism? Public spirit?
No. Money.
I see. Very well. What's your price?
We were discussing my motive, not my price. My motive is money. My price is very cheap.
Well, what is it?
To tell you what I know, Sir Evan?
To tell me what you know.
I want you to give me your personal word regarding that photograph. That's my price. Do you identify it as a picture of Hans Hessel?
Well, you know, it might be a case of extraordinary resemblance. There have been instances like that.
I want you to tell me the truth, Sir Evan. According to the best of your belief, is that photograph a likeness of Hans Hessel?
It is.
Thank you very much, Sir Evan. And now I'll tell you what I know about it. It was taken in Coburg. That's a small city in the Austrian Tyrol.
When was it taken?
11 months ago.
11 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
But then Hessel is still...
Good night, Sir Evan.
Where are you going?
I'm going to let you get some sleep, Sir Evan. You told me you were tired.
But you promised to tell me all you know.
That is all I know, Sir Evan. Practically all I know.
But if Hessel is still alive...
Hessel is 200 feet underground, Sir Evan. He's been dead a long time. Good night now. You know, I didn't have anything particular in mind when I took that photograph. It was one of a series I'd been making backstage at the circus just for my own amusement, you understand, with a camera I'd picked up cheap in the black market. No, I didn't get suspicious until sometime later. We were having an argument, and he didn't understand English very well. Hessel, that is, and certainly not American. So when I told him not to get himself into a hassle about it, he thought I said Hessel, you see? It was just as silly as that. I didn't do any detective work. He just calmly spilled the beans all by himself. And that night when we got into Coburg, he slipped away, and of course I followed him, and he led me quite a chase up there in the mountains, but I kept right on his tail. The whole thing ended up, of all places, in a deserted mine. But it begins with a circus. But the star of the show was Louisa. She was a high wire artist, also doubled on the trapeze. Not a great act. Nothing to telegraph John Ringling North about, you understand. Nothing for Madison Square Garden, but a good act all the same. I used to enjoy watching it. It was my job to help rig the apparatus, you see, or rather, that was one of my jobs. I also helped put up the big top with 6 or 7 other overworked characters like myself, and also with a good deal of assistance from Juju the elephant. We packed up the show at night and got it rolling on to the next town. Altogether, it was too much like work for my taste. But it was interesting for a while. Well, a circus, you know, is a wonderful place for a gentleman who is, as it is technically known, on the lam. But we weren't talking about me. We were talking about Louisa, weren't we? Louisa, the high wire artist. 18 she was at the most, half Belgian, I think. The rest of it was German. Her folks had been in show business, too, but mostly the big German cabarets, I gathered. Anyway, they were dead. Her folks, killed by the Nazis. I didn't like to pry into other people's sorrows, but she was a lonely sort of kid, and I'd been nice to her, which was easy. She'd taken to confiding in me. So you haven't any relatives at all?
No, I haven't. I haven't anybody. You see, we always kept very much to ourselves, my mother and Daddy and I, but we were very close. Father almost went crazy when it happened. Do you mind if I tell you about it?
Not if you want to.
I have never told anybody before. Not what really happened. You see, they came first for my mother. They took her away to one of those camps. We never knew which it was or when she died or how. My father tried to go on, you know, working. But it was very hard. They made him a soldier, and he'd lost his leg on the Russian front. So, of course, there wasn't much he could do, but he kept on training me, and somehow we managed. I don't know how, but we did. And then they came for him. They would have taken me, too, but I wasn't there. It just happened I was off somewhere trying to get something to eat. And Harry, you know what they did to my father.
You really want to tell me?
Yes, I want someone to know. Such things should not ever be forgotten. They didn't take him to a camp, Harry. This was in the beginning of 44. Did you ever hear of Hessel's Mobile Liquidation Squad?
No.
Well, it was the invention of that Hessel. He was one of the top Nazis, you know, toward the end. He never allowed himself to be photographed, but we heard about him all the same. He had trucks that went around to all the little towns. The trucks were really portable gas chambers, and they used to load the people into the trucks and kill them that way. It saved a lot of time and money. And you know something, Harry? This was late in the war, and they didn't want to stir up the people, so the trucks were camouflaged, decorated to look like circus wagons. The little children used to gather around outside and look at the pictures of the clowns and lions and tigers and things like that, while all the time inside they were killing people. That was Dr. Hessel's invention.
Well, you shouldn't keep thinking about it. It doesn't do any good.
I think of that man all the time, Harry.
What man?
Hessel. I told you. The man responsible for that wagon. Hessel was his name. I don't know what he calls himself now. But he got away, you know, Harry. He escaped from the bunker and was never found. But someday he will be found. Be sure of that. There are many of us all over the world looking for him. And someday one of us is bound to succeed. I only hope it's me.
I don't believe you.
What do you mean?
Oh, I believe your story, all right. It's just this vengeance business that doesn't convince me. Of course you feel bad about it. I don't blame you, but stop trying to act tough, baby. You can't make it. You're just not the type.
You're wrong. Wait till you know me better.
In a moment, Orson Welles returns as Harry Lime, the third man. And now, Orson Welles, as Harry Lime, the third man, continues in today's story. Harry Lime joins the circus.
Why is our show running so short tonight, Geeko? Is it a long haul to the next town?
Yes, and it's a bad road, you know, all mountains.
Huh? Well, what's the name of the place?
Coburg.
Geeko,
Yes?
you like being a clown?
What do you mean, do I like it? It's my profession.
But you must like it. You wouldn't do it, would you? I mean, how does a man get to be a clown? Is there a clown school? Did you graduate from it with a degree?
I have a degree, Harry, but not as a clown. As a lawyer. But that is much the same thing, is it not? A lawyer and the clown. Particularly nowadays when they are making here in Germany a mockery of justice.
Okay, old man, okay. Don't get yourself worked up about it. I just wanted to know.
I'm not worked up about it, Harry. I'm always the control, the perfect control. Yes, I paint on my face the big smile, and nobody knows what I feel.
You know the trouble with you, Geeko?
No, I do not know the trouble with me. What is the trouble with me?
You're corny.
Corny?
Corny and square.
I do not understand you.
You wouldn't. Listen, that routine about the clown with the painted smile and the broken heart is so tired it squeaks.
Explain, please. What is your meaning?
This Pagliacci routine, I don't buy it.
Buy?
Man.
Buy? Who is offering anything for sale?
I mean, I don't believe it. Now, don't get in a hassle over it.
You!
Hey, get your hands off my throat.
You do not believe! You do not believe! What is there not to believe? I'm a clown, I tell you. That is all I am. A clown. What proof have you that I am anything else?
Well,
I ask you what proof?
Sorry, old man. I loathe hitting people, but there wasn't any alternative. You can't start choking a fellow to death and expect him to answer your questions at the same time. You wanted to know what proof I had. Well, I didn't have any. I didn't even have a suspicion. You got the whole conversation scrambled up in that thick skull of yours. You don't have the remotest idea what I was talking about, do you, Geeko?
No, I didn't.
Well, stop cringing like that. It isn't pretty. You can get up. Come on. I'm not going to hit you again. Giko plunked that square, heavy body of his on a camp chair and started squinting at himself in the cracked mirror, which was always kept for last-minute repairs near the entranceway. He had an ugly-looking kisser at best. I hadn't improved it any with that punch, and I didn't blame him a bit for not looking very happy with what he saw in the glass. He got out his sticks of paint and began making repairs. I stood watching him.
I cannot see why you have suspicions about me. I have nothing to hide.
You seem to have one particular thing in mind. What is it, old man?
It is not me. It is you who have said...
You don't dig me at all, do you?
Dig? What do you know about digging? There are many mines in these mountains. Many in Coburg.
Go on, old man.
What is there to go on about?
I don't know, chum. You find your own cues. I don't give them to you. What about the mines?
I know you are a secret agent, but why torture me? Who is it you work for? The pig dog Americans? The British?
No, old man, I don't work for anybody. I work for me.
Then where have you this information?
You poor, dumb cluck. I haven't any information, but you're giving it to me just as fast as you can. If I knew a little more, maybe we could make a deal.
You know enough already. If you are not a secret agent, I will kill you. I think I will kill you anyway. Because if they know about me, I have nothing to lose. And if they do not know about me, it will be better to make you silent.
You have a wonderful brain, Giko. Listen.
Listen to what?
Those big wooden wheels clanking around inside your skull. Those are your thoughts, Giko, old man. Clankety, 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 clank. There goes your other eye, Giko.
Giko, you are now. Where's Giko?
Giko is resting, Herr Kranzel. He'll be with you in a minute.
Oh, there he is. What's happened? Is he drunk?
No, he just got overexcited.
Come on.
I come. I go.
One other thing.
Yes?
I'll be watching your act, Giko. Make it funny. After the circus was packed up and just getting underway, I saw him sneaking off into the shadows. Curiosity is my middle name, so I followed. Harry Lime being the rest of my name, I was very careful that Giko didn't see me. He led me quite a chase, through the suburbs and then out into the open country, till pretty soon we were into the pine forest, climbing up, way up. It's cold in those mountains after midnight, and after a couple of hours climbing, we reached the snow belt. I was beginning to feel very sorry, A, that I'd started out on this expedition at all, and B, that I wasn't wearing my winter underwear. After all, why was I following him anyway? And how was I going to find my way down? If I lost him, I'd lose myself. I was just starting to get really panicky about this when I did. I lost him. A minute before, he'd been up there 200 yards ahead. A dim figure in the forest, bobbing in and out among the trees, but still visible. But now he was gone. No, he hadn't fallen into a crevasse. He hadn't fallen at all. He'd let himself into that deserted mine. I finally found the mouth of it. Peering down, I could just make out a flicker of a flashlight. It was lonely out there in the forest, so feeling a little bit like a fool and a little bit like Alice in Wonderland going into the rabbit hole, I climbed down after him. Well, it isn't easy to sneak up to a man in a mine. You get just so far, and then you stumble on a rock. At least that's what happened to me.
Who's there? Who's that? There's somebody here. I know it.
No, boss, there ain't nobody here but us chickens.
So it's you. You followed me. That was foolish, and you shall pay for being foolish. I have a gun in my hand, and I do not think there'll be anybody to hear me fire it except you.
Well, if there's nobody to hear, I guess we can have a little roughhouse. I tried a flying tackle, and it worked. Giko crashed down like a ton of bricks. And the next thing he knew, I had his gun.
No! You will not shoot! No!
It was almost pitch black in there. I couldn't see what he was up to, but I could hear him running up toward the mouth of the tunnel. I started after him.
I'm pulling down a support! No use to shoot! I'm closing you in!
He'd worked loose one of the old wooden supports, starting a miniature landslide.
You may have my gun now, but what use is it? You are alone! I have trapped you! Now I will go away, and a few months from now, when you are only a skeleton, I will return. It's just as well that the tunnel has caved in. It will only make this place harder to find. But wait, the entrance.
My side of it is blocked too.
You mean you've trapped yourself too, old man?
The support.
The supports?
They were more rotten than I thought.
Tough luck, old man.
The whole front of the roofing has collapsed.
Looks like you've outsmarted yourself, doesn't it?
Very soon, there'll be no more air.
Yeah.
No more air.
Yes, and it won't be very pleasant. I'll tell you frankly, old man, I can think of 100 million other people I'd rather be trapped in a mine with.
Shut up.
Why should I? You're stuck in your part of the tunnel, so you can't make me. Besides, there's nothing like a little conversation to keep up the morale. Or would you rather sing a hymn? I know, let's play a game. Questions and answers. That ought to keep us busy till the oxygen gives out. First question, you are Hessel, aren't you? I say you are Hessel.
What is it to you?
What have you hidden here in the mine? Gold?
Paintings, antique silver, tapestries, the most beautiful things in Europe.
I see, art treasures.
This is a museum, and now the world will never see it.
I know. You kiddies are all jumping up and down in your little cribs by now, demanding to hear whether or not your Uncle Harry smothered to death down in that bad old mine. Well, he didn't. Now, it seems a young couple from New Jersey, God bless them, who were up in those mountains for their honeymoon, happened to stop in the mouth of the tunnel to fix their skis or something. But this was the next afternoon, and Herr Hessel, alias Giko, had gone completely off his rocker. He wouldn't stop talking to himself, or rather yelling. You see, if Hessel hadn't babbled, the young couple from New Jersey wouldn't have heard anything, wouldn't have known we were trapped in the mine, wouldn't have gone for help, and I wouldn't be here now to tell the tale. As it was, the rescue party was a long time getting down to us. They got me out first, not by choice, but because my shaft, my part of it, was easier to clear.
Louisa, is that really you?
Yes, Harry. Just finished the drink.
What happened, Louisa? What are you doing here?
Nothing really, just trying to help.
Nothing? Nothing, she says? Ach, what modesty has the young Fräulein. You wouldn't be here now, my friend, if it weren't for this lady.
How do you mean?
It doesn't matter, Harry. Finish your drink.
You see, we could only manage to open a very small part of the tunnel with our pickaxes and drills. The only way to get you out in time was to dynamite the second shaft. Well, we couldn't just throw in the dynamite. You would have been killed. It had to be done with care. The charge had to be laid in just the right place. And the only person small enough and also smart enough and athletic enough to do the job was this young Fräulein from the circus. Now, just a minute. I'll go get you some more schnapps.
That means you saved my life, Louisa. Louisa, why are you crying? Oh, please don't, honey. Here, take my handkerchief.
Oh, Harry, don't you understand? Giko was Hessel.
Sure, I understand. I'm the one that found out.
But I'd sworn to kill him, Harry, and now I'm going to save his life.
Well, that does seem a waste of your good time, Louisa. But besides, how did you find out?
You had told me when I was down there laying the charge. And now what I've done is save the life of the man I'd dedicated my whole life to killing.
Well, maybe it's just as well, honey. After all, vengeance is a pretty messy sort of racket. Does it say in the Bible?
Listen to me up there! Listen!
Hey, that's Giko. He's yelling something up the shaft.
The dynamite!
The dynamite? What's...
Dynamite opened the other wing!
He says the dynamite opened the other wing. What does that mean? Does it mean he can get out on his own?
In the other wing was my gun! I have my gun now! You understand?
He says he's got back his gun.
I have it back! You will not take me out of here alive! Heil Hitler!
He's killed himself.
Oh, I remember now.
What do you remember, Harry?
Well, what it says in the Bible about vengeance.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
Yeah, that's right, honey. Come on, let's get down to town. Have some dinner.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
Now that I have Sir Evan Lawford's word for it that Hessel really was Hessel, I'm getting together a little expedition in Bavaria to dig up all that buried treasure. Nothing official, mind you. No reason to let the authorities into a good thing like that. Trouble is, I need money, quite a lot of it. I never seem to be able to get it all together at one time. That's the worst of my line of business, as I always say. Crime doesn't pay. So long now.